I loved my husband truly. But then one kiss, just one, cracked open a part of me I thought didn't exist. I didn't plan to. I didn't plan to fall for the man who lived just steps away from my parents' house. But I did. And I kept it secret for years. If you've ever wondered how a good woman ends up living a double life, this is my story. From teenage love to marriage and children to a secret affair that led to a child no one knows isn't her husband's. Isn't just about betrayal. It's about silence, about choices you can't take back, and about the weight of a truth you carry alone. I met him when I was just a teenager. Not the man I would betray with, but the one I married, the one I thought was my forever. We were high school sweethearts, not from the same village but close enough. 6 kilometers of countryside separated our homes, but we made it work. Weekend visits, late night texts, riding that sweet wave of first love. We officially became a couple in college. He studied veterinary medicine. So did I. We had dreams of one day building a life together, a family, a business, maybe a little shop in the village. It all seemed possible. All seemed innocent. When I came home for holidays or weekends, I would meet up with old friends in my hometown, the boys and girls I grew up with who still felt like home. I was outgoing, bubbly, always smiling. I never thought that part of me, the one who liked to laugh, who liked being liked, would ever get me into trouble. There was this one guy. He lived just a few steps away from my parents' house, older than me, quiet but always present. He wasn't flashy, not especially charming, but there was a calmness to him, the kind of calm that makes you feel seen even when you're surrounded by people. We never flirted. We never planned anything. He was just there. Every time I went out with friends and needed a ride, he was the one who offered. No questions, no expectations, just kindness, familiarity. One evening after a dinner party with some neighbors, he was driving me home. We stopped near the gate of my house. I was unbuckling my seat belt, already half out the door, when he leaned in and he kissed me. Not quick, awkward goodbye, not a friendly mistake, a real kiss. Slow, electric. And here's the thing that still makes my stomach twist. Kissed him back. I didn't pull away. I didn't even hesitate. Something in me, something I didn't even know existed, responded fully, eagerly, like I'd been waiting for it without realizing. At night I lay in bed and thought about him for hours. My boyfriend, the man I loved, was still in my heart. But now, someone else had found a way into my mind. Quiet neighbor. Kiss I never saw coming. A crack I couldn't ignore. And once a crack forms, it's only a matter of time before something starts to break. The days after that kiss were blur. I kept replaying it over and over in my mind. The way he leaned in. The way I didn't stop him. The way my body responded like it had been craving something I never dared admit. Felt guilty, yes, but I also felt alive in a way I hadn't expected. We didn't talk about it right away. He didn't message me that night. I didn't reach out either. But a few days later I received a short text from him. Are you okay? And that was all it took. From there it started slowly at first. Casual chats, a few harmless messages about random things, but between the lines I could feel it. Tension, a pull. Every time I saw his name light up on my screen, my heart skipped. Every time he asked how I was, I wanted to tell him the truth. Can't stop thinking about you. He invited me over once, said he was home alone. I hesitated, told myself I'd only stay for a few minutes, that we'd talk, that I'd get some clarity. But when I walked into his house, saw how quiet and familiar everything was, my resolve started to slip. He didn't touch me at first. He just poured me a glass of water, asked about school, asked about my plans. But then there was a silence. One of those heavy charged silences, where you know something's about to happen, and it did. We didn't speak much. After the first kiss that day, our body said everything. It was fast, messy, desperate. I remember my hands shaking. I remember his breathing. I remember thinking, this isn't love, but it feels like a release. Afterwards, I sat on the edge of his bed and stared at the floor. He asked if I was okay. I nodded, but I didn't have the words. I just left, quietly. No promises, no labels, just the heavy weight of what we had done, pressing down on both of us. From that point forward, everything changed. I was still in a relationship with my boyfriend, still loving him, still making plans for our future. But every time I went home, I felt that magnetic pull towards someone I wasn't supposed to want. We kept texting, kept meeting. In secret, always careful, always quiet. Nobody knew. Not my friends, not my family, not even him. The man who still held my heart had any idea what was happening behind his back. Told myself it was just a phase, just something I needed to get out of my system, that I would stop. But I didn't stop, because the truth is, some doors once opened are harder to close than we think. Eventually I graduated. So did he. My boyfriend, now officially a veterinarian. We were still together. Still in love, or at least trying to be. There were no proposals, no grand gestures, just a pregnancy. Unexpected, but not unwelcome. We decided to get married. Felt like the right next step. Our wedding was simple, held back home. His parents helped us open a small veterinary supply and animal feed store. It wasn't glamorous, but it was something we could build together. We had our first child, a beautiful, clever little boy who made me laugh in ways no man ever could. Life was supposed to settle after that, but it didn't. He started working far from home, taking jobs at large farms, long shifts, long absences. Sometimes weeks would go by without him being home, and even when he was, it felt like he was only half there, tired, quiet, focused on work. Understood, but the silence between us grew heavier. I stayed behind to run the shop and take care of our son. The store wasn't far from my parents' house, which meant I went back often to drop off the baby, to rest, to just feel like a daughter again instead of a tired wife and mother. And he was still there. The neighbor, he hadn't moved. He still ran his small hair salon, still lived alone, still looked at me the same way he had that night near the gate. Not like a man filled with guilt, but like someone who had tasted something he couldn't forget. We didn't talk much after I got married. For a while I thought we were done, but feelings have a way of resurfacing when you least expect them. One afternoon I dropped by his shop under the excuse of saying hello. It was supposed to be innocent. It wasn't. Started again. Slowly, secretly, with stolen glances. Then messages, then meetings. It didn't matter that I was someone's wife now. Didn't matter that I had a child. When I was around him, I felt wanted, desired, alive. We never planned our meetings. They happened when they could. When the shop was slow, when my son was asleep at my parents' house, we never spoke of love, only longing, only need. Each time I walked away from him, I told myself it would be the last, that I owed it to my husband, to my son, to myself. But every time I went back, because sometimes it's not about love or logic. Sometimes it's about the one place you go to remember who you were before the titles, before the responsibilities, before the weight of everything else. And he had become that place for me. It wasn't supposed to happen. I was careful. Or maybe I just thought I was. Maybe part of me stopped caring. When I found out I was pregnant, again I stared at the test for a long. The room was quiet. My son was napping in the other room and I couldn't breathe because in my heart I already knew this baby wasn't my husband's. The timing didn't fit. We hadn't been intimate in weeks, maybe months. He was barely home. Even when he was, we slept more like roommates than lovers. We loved each other, yes, but not in the way that made babies. There was only one other possibility, and it terrified me. I didn't tell anyone, not even him, the neighbor. Couldn't. Could I explain that I'd let things go this far? That what we had, something born of temptation and stolen time, had now become something real, something living. I thought about ending it. Thought about disappearing for a while. Going away, coming back with a story. But deep down I couldn't. When I felt the tiny heartbeat inside me, I knew this child was innocent. This child deserved to live. Even if everything around them was born in lies. My husband never questioned it. He came home for a holiday, held my hand when I told him, smiled when I said we were having another baby. He was excited, proud. He touched my belly like it was the most natural thing in the world. And I let him believe. Smiled. He nodded. Thanked him. But every time he touched me, a voice inside whispered, he doesn't know. I stopped seeing the neighbor after that. Cold turkey. Whoa. Messages, no visits. I couldn't risk it. Not with everything so fragile. Not with a child growing inside me that I couldn't explain. He didn't fight it. Maybe he understood. Maybe he was scared too. He never asked if the baby was his. Maybe he didn't want to know. Didn't block his number. I just stopped replying. There were nights I lay awake, wondering what would happen if the truth came out. If the baby would grow to look like him, if my husband would see it, if one day I'd have to answer questions I couldn't bear to say aloud. But I stayed quiet. And sometimes silence is heavier than any confession. Now I'm 30. Have 2 beautiful children, a boy who laughs just like his father and a little girl with eyes that don't belong to him. Every time I look at her, I see the truth I've buried. She's growing fast, full of questions and wonder. Sometimes when she smiles, it's like the past is staring right at me. My husband is still here, still working hard, still coming home late, still believing in the life we've built together. And in many ways we have built a life. We have a home, a business, a family. On the side, everything looks whole. Inside me, there's a fracture that never healed. I never told him about the kiss, the visits, the messages, the nights I slipped away. I never told him that our daughter, the one he holds and reads bedtime stories to, might not be his. He loves her without hesitation. Maybe that's why I've never had the courage to destroy that love. The neighbor, he's still around. We pass each other. Sometimes a nod, a glance, nothing more. We haven't spoken in years. He never asked about the child. Never offered anything. Maybe he suspects. Maybe he knows. But we both chose silence. And silence, I've learned, can be louder than truth. Some nights when the kids are asleep and the house is quiet, I lie awake and wonder, if I could go back, would I change it? Would I have said no to that kiss? Would I have walked away the moment my heart split in two? I don't know. 'Cause the truth is, I did love my husband. I still do. But there was a part of me buried deep beneath duty and routine that came alive with someone else. Part that felt seen, desired, dangerous. Now that part of me is quiet again, buried, but not gone. Every day I carry this secret, like a second skin. No one knows. No one suspects. And maybe they never will, but do. And sometimes the heaviest thing isn't what we've done, it's the weight of pretending it never happened. Subscribe for more real confessions from behind closed doors.